This is not an attack. This is not a threat. This is the Nile River at 5 a.m. Before the heat, before the crocodiles move, before the hippopod surfaces from the darkness. And an adult female red-billed oxpecker has been inside a hippopotamus's mouth for 23 seconds. The hippo's jaw is open at exactly 45 degrees. Not a defensive yawn, not aggression. An invitation. One that has been offered and accepted at this same river, at this same hour, for 40 million years. Stay with me, because what is happening inside that jaw, right now, before the sun clears the acacia line, is not what the thumbnail suggested. The bird is not brave. The hippo is not docile. They are both running a transaction, and one of them is going to die significantly earlier if the other stops showing up. Now, the obvious threat first. This river has Nile crocodiles, 17 of them in this stretch alone. They have taken hippos before, juvenile ones, weakened ones. The crocodile is the threat the hippo was built to survive. 4,000 kilograms of bone and muscle and skin thick enough to stop a spear. Built across millennia specifically to outlast anything this river produces. There is a lion at the bank right now, 180 kilograms. It knows better than to approach. The hippo has caged lions. It has killed crocodiles. Everything in this ecosystem that poses a visible physical threat, the hippo has already solved. But there is one category of threat it has never been able to solve on its own. Not with size, not with speed, not with those tusks. The invisible one. The one currently burrowing between the second and third molar on the left side of this animal's jaw. A tick larva, 2 millimeters long, embedded in the soft tissue of the gum line, carrying Aeromonas hydrophila, a bacterium that exists in this river in concentrations high enough to be routinely lethal. Here is what that bacterium does once a tick deposits it into gum tissue. It begins consuming soft tissue within 48 hours of embedding. By hour 72, the tissue around the embeddings has begun to necrotize. Necrotic tissue does not heal in a Nile environment. It spreads. By day 5, the infection has reached the jawbone. A 4,000 kilogram animal whose hide repels spears, undone by a bacterium it cannot see, attacking tissue it cannot reach, delivered by a carrier the size of a grain of sand. The hippo cannot clean this area. Its tongue, strong enough to strip bark from a tree, cannot reach the gumline junction. Its tusks, capable of cutting a crocodile in half, are too large to maneuver between its own teeth. Its skin regenerates at a rate almost no mammal matches, but the gum tissue is different. It is the one vulnerability the 4,000 kilogram fortress cannot defend. So, it opens its mouth, and the female oxpecker begins her operation. Not a cleaning, a triage. She lands at the jaw margin, the corner where the upper and lower jaw meet when the mouth is open. She does not enter immediately. She scans the interior from the entry point first, identifying the highest density infection sites before committing to the interior. This is not instinct. This is learned sequencing, documented in adult female oxpeckers and absent in juveniles attempting their first mouth entry. She enters. She moves directly to the gumline junction on the lower left jaw, the area with the deepest embedded larvae, the most compromised tissue, the richest harvest. She works from the gum outward, not inward. This is critical. Working inward first risks embedding her bill in tissue that is already compromised, trapping her. working outward first, clears the exit path while still accessing the harvest. She extracts 9 larvae in 14 seconds, each one pulled with the flat, sideways grip of her bill, evolved specifically to wedge into the 2-millimeter gap between tooth and gum that no other bill shape can access. She moves to the upper jaw, works the molar line systematically. She is not eating at random. She is executing a precision extraction sequence, deploying her specialized anatomy against specific target in a specific order that maximizes extraction rate while minimizing time inside a closing jaw. Now, what the hippo is doing during those 91 seconds, because this is not passive. The hippo is not simply tolerating the transaction. It is actively maintaining the invitation posture. This requires muscular effort. The jaw of a Nile hippo generates up to 2,000 pounds of bite force. Holding it open at 45 degrees for 91 seconds against the weight of its own anatomy is a controlled, deliberate act. The hippo is contributing to the transaction, not as a recipient, as an active participant. When the female oxpecker enters, the hippo's jaw muscles visibly stabilize. The angle holds precisely. Field researchers measuring jaw aperture across multiple sessions with the same hippo-oxpecker pair found aperture variance of less than 3 degrees across 52 documented sessions. Less than 3 degrees. The hippo has learned the exact angle that maximizes the oxpecker's access while keeping the jaw stable. 40 million years of that precision. The hippo holds the invitation posture for 91 seconds. Then it closes. The female oxpecker is already out. She extracted 22 larvae in 91 seconds. The hippo's gum tissue will not necrotize today. The female oxpecker consumed enough protein in 91 seconds to sustain herself for 4 hours. Neither of them chose this arrangement. Evolution ran 40 million years of trials and eliminated every hippo whose gum tissue failed and every oxpecker that was too cautious to enter. The juvenile oxpecker, 12 weeks old. It has followed this female to 14 mouth entry sessions. It has not entered. It waits at the jaw margin every time, the entry point, and watches. Field researchers documenting this behavior found that juvenile oxpeckers observe between 8 and 20 adult mouth entry sequences before attempting their first independent entry, not because they are afraid, because the first entry sequence must be correct. A juvenile that enters wrong, working inward instead of outward, failing to secure the exit path first, risks being closed on. It has happened. The jaw is not malicious. The hippo does not intend to close early, but the invitation posture has a biological clock, 90 to 120 seconds for most adults. A juvenile that does not execute the extraction sequence efficiently enough will still be inside when that clock runs out. So it watches. 14 sessions, learning the entry angle, learning the sequencing, learning where the gum line junction is on the specific hippo, because each hippo's mouth anatomy is slightly different, and the female oxpecker has mapped this one precisely over months of operation. On session 15, the juvenile enters. 6 seconds inside. 1 larva extracted. Exit clean. The transaction has a new operator. Subscribe to Animal Lovers 4K. Every week, we go deeper into the biological architecture of survival, the transactions evolution built that keep this river functioning. The wet season is 6 weeks away. The larval count is climbing, and that juvenile just executed its first extraction. The Nile never stops.